Shenanigans.
For this hot topic, we have Rob B. Rock. You've got some Canadian officials going on vacation. So is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
They going to the
It
beach. Woo!
it's a truth, and it's despicable shenanigans. Um, During the second wave of COVID, Canada isn't faring as well, and we are now seeing provinces imposing lockdown measures. We're seeing curfews being rolled in, and we were asked over Christmas to stay home, to celebrate with the immediate members of our household, to not engage in any non essential travel. Unfortunately, the elected officials at a provincial and federal level did not heed the same advice that they were doling out to their citizenry. I will be sharing the list of names via the Facebook feed as we go along here. But if you could please
Call
pull,
them out. Call 'em out.
yeah, oh heck yes. And this is the really sad part about it is that there's an Alberta Make-A-Wish family that lost out on their trip to Hawaii. They followed the measures. They stayed home. They did the right thing. But if anyone really has a claim to it, it's a Make-A-Wish kid. That's just absolutely heartbreaking. Do you have the image of Braden?
Absolutely.
All
Hi,
right.
Brady.
Right. So that is 9-year-old Braden Lucier. So he is from Airdrie, Alberta, and he has been diagnosed with what is called the Haiju-Cheney syndrome. He's only one of 100 people in the world diagnosed with this. It causes development defects in bones, teeth, joints, causing distinctive craniofacial and skull changes that you can see in the image. And it also manifests itself by severe osteoporosis and short stature. So this poor kid has gone through heart surgeries. He has gone through so much. He's immunocompromised. He's had meningitis. He has two other siblings. And next to his love of riding elevators, it was Braden's dream to be on a tropical beach. Everything has kind of stabilized over the last 2 years with his hospital visits, and he was set up this fall to go to Hawaii with his family. But because of the Rona and because of the travel advisories and whatnot, the family chose to stay at home. So now, when we've got federal and provincial officials that are going and traveling for leisure, going to Hawaii, going to St. Bart's, going to Mexico, going to California, rage. But the great thing is, I would have to say that so far, about a third of these individuals have either resigned or they have been removed been removed from their posts by the provincial house leaders. So my question to the officials, to my co-hosts is, I mean, a reaction to the dichotomy of the situation and of the elected officials who have not resigned. What would you what would you recommend?
Start with Lizzie Enders.
Public shaming.
Hmm.
Public shaming. Um, this is one of the reasons why we can't have nice things. One of the reasons why we really can't get out of the pandemic, why we have not progressed. There are so many people, especially people of privilege. And when I say privilege here, I'm not necessarily talking about white people. I'm talking about monetary privilege, people with power
Wow.
who think that the rules don't apply to them. You have to, there's a lack of self awareness here. Like Rob said, these are elected officials, these are public figures in Canada. And you have to be aware that you are under a microscope. And everything that you do, people are watching, they're commenting on, they look to you for direction. And so if you're just going to get up and go to Hawaii and go to the beach, and we're not even just talking about just traveling. Again, Rob is talking about Canada. They are traveling outside of their country, okay, to go to places. And if you just think that that's okay, that you have a right to do this, everyone else needs to quarantine in place. But it's okay for us to go and get some sun and spend time with our families. How are we ever going to get out of this? Why do the rules not apply to you? So why shouldn't this family with this young man have just gone to Hawaii? If everybody else is going, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? This is the problem when you don't have everybody follow the rules and everybody get on board. And so I don't even know what I think should happen to them other than definitely public shaming. Um, it's so sad and disappointing. And I say that as I know, there are people in our country who are doing the same. Now the restrictions, in our country aren't necessarily as grave,
Stringent. Yeah.
as grand as what you guys are experiencing now in Canada. But do you really
It
think
should be.
do you think our politicians would pay attention? I mean, they're going to rallies with no mask
Mhm.
on. So it does not, I would not be surprised if they, acted in the same way. And it's really sad, especially as someone who has not traveled outside of this country in over a year.
Yeah.
Pisses me off.
People
I
in
miss my fins. I miss my fins.
people in power tend to be do what I say, not what I do. I mean, that's just the way people in power are. They just feel like, hey, I'm going to create rules for you. That's what I'm supposed to do. You follow my rules. I do whatever the hell I want. And so, what do we do with these people? I honestly don't know. I don't know that there's a way to fix it because they are we do elect them to be the creators of the rules. I mean, they are our
Mhm.
lawmakers. So then that's what we elect them for. So they figure, hey, I'm going to create rules for you, and you guys are the only ones that are supposed to follow them. What do we do? To be honest, I don't even know.
I have a quick question,
I don't even have a
Roberto.
good answer for that.
What has your prime minister said about this? Has he made any statements, Trudeau?
Good question.
I haven't come across any official statements from Trudeau, but that was one of the reasons why I posted all the names. Is if you see something, if you see a name that's driving you absolutely nuts on that list, or even if it's just you're angry about the whole situation at large, then yeah, write to your MPs, write to your prime minister, and let them know that this is unacceptable behavior on the part of our politicians. But I haven't heard any official statements from Trudeau yet.
County Storm?
Um, yeah, I was actually gonna challenge you guys and ask because I know that one of the MPs, I think her name was Kira or something like that. She was a liberal MP. She had said that she traveled and it was only because somebody was dying. Like I think a part of somebody in her family was passing away. So
Yes,
my thing
that's
is that
Kamal Kara did travel for compassionate reasons. I think she went somewhere stateside, and it was for a funeral service for her father and her uncle. So my heart absolutely goes out to her. She did resign. She did the right thing. Um, and I can appreciate why someone would want to travel for compassionate reasons, but at the end of the day, compassionate is deemed non-essential travel.
Yeah, I
It
was gonna
is
say.
non-essential travel.
I mean, even if I personally choose to break the law, or to go visit my family members or things like that, I still have to pay the price, and she should still pay the price, even though, again, hey, I agree. If it's a reasonable reason, I'd probably do the same thing, or I might do the same thing. I'll say I might do the same thing, but yeah, if the law is
It's,
the
it's
law.
I think it's a reasonable excuse. However, on the flip side, let's think about or talk about all the other people who don't have the resources that she has,
Mm,
who have not been able to travel
and see
to,
their family.
send out there was, who have had to watch services virtually,
They have
who
in California, they're dying so fast they've had to make makeshift morgue because and people are not able to see their family members and go to their family members and see them as their. I mean, they're just not allowed. So
that's
again, it's still about privilege. It's still a
so
privilege.
they should make an exception for Braden and his wish. Like that's all I care about at the end of the day. Like let that little boy go to the beach. What in
but
the heck?
the thing is, Gianni, it was his family who decided. Like his family was the one that was being responsible and was like, okay, we are going to postpone this. We want to,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they didn't say no, you can't go. His family decided, okay, we're going to postpone this because the virus is spreading. These rules are set in place, and we're just going to have to wait it out. And so that's why the mom was outraged. She was just like, okay, we did everything we were supposed to do, and yet you guys are just giving the rules the finger. So that's what
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think pisses
I get it.
people
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
With this
absolutely.
stuff.
Let's get to these comments. There's some really good comments online. Um, Alan says that sad but true. Sad, but I agree with Rob Bertrand. Jacqueline Robinson said a lot of people in DMV are getting infections attending funerals as well.
Mm.
Jose says, um, how can they not be? Flights are coming in and people are coming back and have COVID. They get off the plane and have it. There's no respect. Jacqueline Robinson also said something really important. She said, at least Canadian politicians have some shame. And that what
I
that
would.
says to me is at least they care. I mean, because right now, Trump could literally do anything. I mean, they're literally talking about, they're debating on whether or not he could shoot somebody in the street and then write a
Get
pardon
away.
for himself.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
why is this even a debate? That shouldn't even be a consideration.
Also, too, Jeanette Brown just posted because I saw Jeanette Brown actually over Thanksgiving. Jeanette Brown is one of our high school friends, very dear friend to us, and she and her family live in Pennsylvania. Jeanette drove down to DC over Thanksgiving. And so Jeanette Brown says, I've been traveling all over the place, but there have been extenuating circumstances, I assure you. I've been trying to minimize spread in all the ways I can. That's a little bit different because, again, our restrictions are not the same
Right, I was going to say
as what
restrictions are different.
the restrictions are that Rob is talking about in Canada.
I mean,
So,
because
Jeanette,
that's why the
no,
COVID numbers are so much lower.
pointing the finger at you at all. And again, to travel from Canada to Hawaii, you can't drive. These people obviously got on a
Yeah.
plane, and so travel allowances and restrictions here aren't what they are in Canada. Like, you can travel. I know someone who went to Cancun last week.
Yep.
Now, I'm gonna keep my comments about that to myself,
All right.
but she went to Cancun last week. She lives in California. She went to Cancun last week. And then I guess some people, weren't too happy because she posted a lot of her pictures online, and some people weren't happy about that. And so she felt the need to post her reasons why. And I'm just like, you know what? Honestly, I don't even think that was needed. Like, you went, it
I,
is what it is. Like, I can't. And there's nothing that in California that is restricting you from going to Cancun.
which is
That's the
ridiculous
difference.
because
That's the
because
difference.
that's ground zero right now. But
Yeah,
um,
that's the
Jeanette Brown
difference.
says grandiose narcissists don't feel shame, and Mike Winter agreed with that.
Mhm.
I see Yuk Sim Wan says that something to keep in mind is difference between law and moral obligation. Um, was not against the law to travel. No laws were broken. Moral obligations, leadership is different than law. Leadership is
Good point.
different than law. I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
Vanessa GC.
Yuxem is an NDP representative out of Thunder Bay, actually, former coworker. So it's great to see Yuxem on the call, and Vanessa is a good friend
Welcome.
of the family. So she
Welcome.
who teaches civics in high school. She posted an article with Trudeau's comments. So yeah,
Yeah,
Trudeau
Vanessa
very
GC.
disappointed.
Vanessa GC says Trudeau made a public statement and then she posted a link to that statement on the
Okay.
Facebook page.
I'll
So
take
take
a
a
look
look
at
at
that.
that.
We'll take a
So
look at
thank you,
that.
Vanessa.
All right. All right, let's move
Also,
on
because
to
Trudeau is fine. So, I'll take a look
Trudeau
at
is
him.
fine. Nobody likes Trudeau. All right, let's move on.